Hi, this is Marcus. I want to do a very quick video on the new version of Portrait Professional 11.0. And one thing I wanted to show is for people that are getting into photography, one of the best things to do is when you're taking a photo uh, is to have the person or the subject hold up a color card. And the reason you do this is because you do this at every time you have a different change in light, where the light direction is coming differently, if you're not metering. And the reason why you do that is because if the color balance was incorrect and I wanted to change it, I could just go to my dropper and select the gray, and it would change my color balance. But right now you can see my white balance is perfect because I use metering. Actually use a light meter, and because this was done in my studio. But just wanted to show that. So let's go back to here. One of the requirements I had to when I shoot when I do certain photo shoots is, unless it's a glamour type of photo shoot, I'll tell my subject to not wear any makeup. And the reason for that is because if you have a makeup artist on set with you that is, applying the makeup and readjusting it, it takes time to do that. But you can, if you're taking pictures and you start to look at, what you're taking, if you see there's too much makeup, you can adjust it. But if you have too much makeup or the makeup was put on incorrectly, you spend a lot of time trying to correct that. So I would rather the model not have any makeup, and that way if I have to correct something, put it on there, I can adjust it and I can control the amount of adjustments that I'm doing. So I had an excellent subject. This was her senior photos, and she was great to work with. And so I'm just going to go right into the program and show you how it works. So now, Portrait Professional is a plugin for Photoshop and for Aperture. They still haven't made a plugin for Lightroom. So Lightroom users, I'm sorry, you can use it as a standalone program, but you can't use it as a plugin. So I'm just going to go right ahead and go to it. And they've made some serious adjustments to the photo program about how they do face detection. You used to have to go in and do all of this yourself, but now they do it for you, and it does an excellent job. Now right here, for most people, they would just go ahead and select it and be done with it. They give you more points of control that you can actually go ahead and select. So I'm going to go ahead and just make this perfect. But that was the first thing that really struck me is when I jumped into this, is how much work they went to automatically do the face detection and to go in and do the things that normally you would have to do before. If you know the previous version, it would tell you to click in the corner of the eye, of the left eye, and go to the right eye and to the tip of the nose, and then from there it would build, build where it think the mouth and things were. But right now, just right out of the box, it automatically detects that. So that was one thing I thought, wow, that is great. And so what I'm going to do is just go into here right now, and I'm just going to start making adjustments to really get it as perfect as I want to, because before it took more time to do this. So, and I'm going to go ahead and extend this past her nose where I want it to be. Okay. And you can see what they did with the eyes. The eyes are perfect. I don't even have to touch the eyes. I'm going to go ahead and bring that back down here for the eyebrows, and I mean, they just did an excellent job overall. Now this is a little bit too high for the head. I'm gonna bring that in about right here, about close to right here, and right there, that's good enough for me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hit the space bar and let it go ahead and make its corrections. And right away you're gonna see it's gonna make some real fine corrections that are excellent. For most people, they could just be done with it and go back into it, but I'm going to show you some real nice things that it does. And I don't want to see this anymore because I don't need it, so I'm going to hit this. So right away it just went out and just made some adjustments to the face. You can see it made a chin a little bit pointier. I can change those things, but just right away. One thing I like to go in there and do is I like to try to make it look as natural as possible. Okay, if that makes any sense. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and choose a touch-up brush. And I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this right here. And I'm going to get rid of this right here. Okay, so those things are just gone. And actually, I'm going to take care of the things that's on the chin. There's a little small piece on her nose. And I'm just going to go small with my brush and just go ahead and take care of that. And then hit it again. Okay, so that's gone. So that's what I have there. So now we're going to go into the control of this. They've expanded the controls of this tool, and it's cool about how they did it. So we're going to go to face detection, and I can actually change her jawline if I wanted to, which would change the way her ears move. You see how I'm moving that, how I can change it. Now in Photoshop, this would be considered what they call this would actually be content aware is what it would be doing in Photoshop, but you'd have to do a whole lot of things in Photoshop to get this to go. So right now we're going to look at the nose. I can make the nose shorter, which makes her face smaller. I can make it longer. I'm going to keep her nose like it is. I can go ahead and do this and pull it down if I needed to. Again, there's no reason to do that, but I'm just showing you the controls. Make it narrower, make it, I can go ahead and slim the nose more if I wanted to, but we're going to leave it just like it is. Her nose is fine. So we're going to go to her eyes. I can increase the eye. If you're seeing what it's doing, it's moving the eyebrows. It's just moving things around. But I can adjust them however I want to adjust them. And I don't have to go in Photoshop and create a bunch of layers to do this. Which again, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust the eyebrows, bring them down like that. And then we're going to go to the shape of the mouth. Now this is the coolest tool I like. Most people go into the doctor to get liposuction to make their lips fatter. No problem. I can increase the size of her lip. I can make it smaller. I can make the upper lip bigger. I can make it smaller. I can just stretch it out to how I want her to smile. I can make her pucker up and just stretch it out. So I'm going to do this right here. Okay. And so I can increase her smile a little bit more. So if she didn't smile, I can make her smile a little bit more. Okay. And I can change the shape of her mouth. Okay. Which is about right there. That's cool. Now I can go into plump lips. And I'm just going to plump her lips all the way up. As you can see, it's making her lips a little bit bigger. Okay, I don't want to make them too big, but this is a huge model thing that you can actually do with it. All right, and then I'm going to go back to the eyes. And again, I can choose which eye I want to do this, but I'm going to widen her eyes. I can make them wider, make them smaller. About right there. It's cool. And I can increase the size of the neck by stretching her up a little bit more. That's cool. Now we're going to go back to skin glow. Okay, and well, let's go to hair. And I'm going to go ahead and choose fine hair. Okay, that's been defined for me. Now I'm looking at the eye control. I don't need to see this again. So I'm just going to go into the eye control over here. Again, you can see there's some darkness in the eye right here. No problem. What I'm going to do is brighten that area. And you can see it just takes that right out, makes the eyes white. Now you don't want to overdo it. You want to make these subtle changes, and that's what I try to do. I don't like to overdo things. Okay, and I'm going to, again, you can shape her eyebrows, make them sharper. I can make them sharper, but that just takes away from the photo. There's no reason to do that. Soft is good. So I'm going to go into eye color, and I'm just going to change her eye color. I'm going to change her eyes to gray. Okay, without, I'm going to just change them to gray just because I want to. And you can really remove the reflection out of the light, but I wouldn't do that because catch light is a big thing in photography, about the catch light and what's in the eye. It really gives realism. You don't want to take that out. Okay, you can nudge the reflections and do that kind of stuff. And one of the cool things they did is when you select another section, the other one collapses and this goes on there. So I'm in here. I'm going to moisten her lips a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to give some saturation for the lips. Okay, and we're going to give a little contrast. I can reshape the mouth however I want to reshape the mouth, but I'm going to leave it like this. I can sharpen, sharpen the lips, but there's no reason to sharpen it. Sharpen it just gives it too hard. Gives a little contrast for the nose. Okay, and again, if I saturate the lips, it makes it like I got more on there. And you can go into the skin and start playing with the skin here. I can change the tan. Getting junk mail in here. Nothing like real video, right? So let's just click on this. Okay, it goes away. All right, and so you can change the cheekbone color, which is something you can do before. Watch this. As I go, I can change her cheek color if I wanted to, but I'm gonna leave it just like it is. But you can see that I can change the tan. I can lighten her up, and I'm gonna leave her about right here, lighten her up from right there. And so I'm going back down to to show the skin control. Now this is a cool feature. It's called cheekbones. If I take it to the extreme, you can see what it does. It gives some contrast to the cheekbone, but right in this corner here, you can see that it gave too much. So that's why overdoing something would be bad like that. So you don't want to overdo it. So I just do right here, which will give some of the structure. Then give a little shadow, give some contrast, all right? And give some contrast in the cheekbones, and you can leave it that way. Hair color. This is a cool feature as well. I can start changing her hair. I can change it to whatever color I want to change it to. Now, of course, this is going to require me to go back in and start refining it, right? Because what you got is you got a lot of redness in there, so I can, give it some shine. I can actually start reducing the color of it like that, and we can make her a redhead. I can go back in here, put that color on there. Of course, you can play around with it, but what you have to do is you have to still go in there and modify. So I'm thinking, let's hit this redhead. Right? Oh, let's go back. Let's go with black hair, coal black, okay, because I like that. You can add vibrance to it if you wanted to, but I don't need to add any vibrance. I need to add some shine, okay. I'm going to increase some of the colors right there. And there we go. And if we go back down, we have the thing that says picture control. And again, there's some contrast you can give to this photo. There is some curve. You see, I can go as far as I want to with the curve. I'm going to leave it like this. I'm going to go back to the hair because the hair seems like it's a little bit too dark. I'm going to lighten up the hair just in areas where you can see more of her face. I like that part right there. And you can go into what they call the hair area, right? So you can view the hair and see what's actually being covered. You can see that what it's doing is, okay, we need to cut back because this is extending to her clothes. So I don't want that to extend to her clothes, so I can just take that out because when I'm making things darker, it's making that part darker. Don't want to do that. You can see certain parts of her hair it didn't get, so I'm going to lower the brush, but I don't want to get too much. I'm just going to cover just a little bit of the area right there. And you can see right here that it just didn't get that part, so we'll just do it like that. And then I'll go back to this area, and now you can see that it really refined, like I wanted to. And I think this is good enough, and so I'm going to just go ahead. You can see the before and the after. Again, when they don't put on makeup, I can adjust the makeup the way I want to make it perfect versus trying to remove something that's done incorrectly. That's just a choice that I do. Go ahead and return this back to the plugin or back to the software that it came from. And then when it comes in, I'm going to show you some other stuff that I'm going to do for it. And this is an excellent photo. Actually, if I wasn't talking and just doing this, I'd be done in 10 minutes. Excellent how it actually came out. I'm very pleased with what they did with the upgrade. I'll be doing a tutorial on the On1 software. The biggest difference between this one and On1 software is that this one gives you much more control than the On1 software one. Is not really for in-depth doing which you can, but it doesn't give you the controls to do a lot of things that this one can do. And so I'll show the differences between that. So if we go back in here, all right, and I just go ahead and choose both of them, and we're going to put them both on the screen. You can see the one that I just finished in that one is excellent. And then we'll go back and just do this here and hit the new one. Now what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to go ahead and go into one of my other plugins called Silver Effects Pro, which is for black and white. I have two black and white products. This one came out by On1 software called Black and White 1, or version 1. And then this Silver Effects Pro by Nick Software, which was just purchased by Google. I'm going to go ahead and select this. Now, I can take you through the presets, and we could go ahead and I did a tutorial on this once before and show you how to do the controls. But I've already created a custom one that I like, so I'm just going to go ahead. So for all my headshots, I've already taken the time. It's called the Shaw Beauty Black and White. I'm just going to go ahead and double click it, and it actually puts my settings in there, and we're going to go ahead and say save, and you're going to see the photo when it comes back in. So